and its mission. And those words are empowerment, enrich, educate, and also to energize. So those are all key components to what the foundation is doing. And at the end of the day, one of the words I love, Cathy, is to elevate, because that's what we're about. So Cathy was connected to me through Soledad. And what I do when I'm deciding what hangout, what topic area that we want to cover, I often think of what I've, in my contact and conversations with you all, are of interest. And what I've been hearing a lot is just, I'm balancing school, I'm balancing work, I'm balancing home, and it's a juggle, and it's a juggle for women twice your age, so it's nothing new, but we wanted to tackle that. And also a term that Cathy coined, emotional intelligence, which is so important when you're dealing with issues on the job, issues with professors, at school, and just home life, you know, just that emotional intelligence and how to act and react and not carry things forward into other areas of your life. So when I had the initial conversation with Cathy by phone, you know, she touched on all of those areas and was point on. So I was clear that she was the next speaker. And Cathy comes from a computer science background initially, and through a process she calls not finding yourself, but really creating yourself. She's now in her purpose-driven career, which is like she does everything from motivational speaking to life coaching, and she's going to share a bit of her expertise with us today. And Cathy is a business owner of C. Holloway Hill Enterprise. So I'd like Cathy to first start off. We're going to allow her to give housekeeping as it relates to how she wants to run it and do her presentation. Of course, if you're not speaking, we'd like you to mute your mic so that you're not at the front, the four screens. So Cathy, we're happy to have you. Thank you for joining us, and take it over from here.
Well, thank you so much, Rika. I am very excited to be here with you young ladies today. It is my pleasure to spend this time talking about two very critical topics, which is emotional intelligence and work-life balance. And I first want to ask you ladies to do something for me as we start on this learning journey for the next 45 minutes. I would like for you to think of yourselves as CEOs. And the reason I'm asking you to think of yourself as a CEO is because you are one. You are the Chief Empowerment Officer of YOU, your own uniqueness. You are a unique brand, and I want you to think of yourself as a brand. Did something happen to, can you all still hear me? Oh, okay, great. Yay, okay, all right. I want you to think of yourself as a brand, because when you think of yourself from that perspective, it puts you in a powerful mindset shift where you can now see yourself from a different perspective, and that's going to help you be able to be, do, and have whatever it is you want to be, do, and have in your life. Because you're all here for a purpose, right? You all came here to accomplish a goal, to learn something. And in order for learning to occur, it first begins in the mind. Change begins in your mind. And that's why I want you to think from a different perspective. Because if you want to do something different, then you have to think differently. Now, the first piece I want to start about is emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Now, you may ask yourself, well, I feel emotions all the time. I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel joy, I feel enthusiasm. But sometimes I don't really know what to do with those emotions. One of the things that we get caught up in a lot of times with our emotions is we allow external circumstances to determine how our emotions are going to work. Meaning that, well, I'll feel happy when something outside of me occurs, or I'll feel better when I lose a certain amount of weight, or I'll feel happier when I get my promotion, or when I do this, or when I do that. But what we need to learn is that emotional intelligence is all about pulling the power from the inside out, not the other way around, not from the outside in. When we pull it from the inside out, it gives us a better perspective, and it gives us more power in how to go forward with emotional intelligence. Now, there are four main areas to emotional intelligence. The first aspect of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Now, what do I mean when I say self-awareness? Well, if I were to ask you, who are you? You would probably tell me your name, and that's true. But there's so much more to you than just your name. You have strengths, you have weaknesses, you have passions, you have values. What are your beliefs? We have to understand that about ourselves before we can move forward in life. When I do my workshops, I go through a process and I call it self-discovery. And Rika kind of touched on it a little bit a while ago. I spent 28 years in a career that someone else designed for my life because I didn't know who I was, so I wanted to just please other people, so I went down this path. And even though it was a great career, it was with IBM Corporation, a major global dynasty, but I didn't know who I was, so I wasn't able to design what I wanted. So the first piece in emotional intelligence is to have that self-awareness. Know who you are. Know what your strengths are. Know what it is that you're passionate about. And also along that line, there are some significant things that can influence how you feel about yourself. Some significant things that can influence that self-awareness. It can influence your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And one of those things is comparing yourself with other people and other situations. You may look at someone else, or you may look at another situation and say, well, I'm not doing what they're doing, or I don't have what they have, or I don't have what she has. And we can't do that. We've got to be able to know what our power is, know what our unique skills and abilities are, and we've got to tap into those. We've got to develop those. So that's an important aspect. Another important aspect of having an influence on our self-esteem and our confidence is the media. When you look at the media and you look at ads in the media, do you compare yourself with those ads if they don't look like you? Does it make you feel bad about yourself because you don't feel like you measure up? Well, let me explain this to you. The media has a job to do, and advertisers have a job to do. The advertiser's job is to sell the product or service. And your job is to filter out whatever is not healthy for your self-esteem and to filter in whatever is going to help you feel better about your self-esteem. One of the things that I want to make sure you ladies understand is self-talk has a significant impact on how you feel about yourself. When you first wake up in the morning, what are some of the things you're saying to yourself? The first 30 minutes of your day is going to set the tone for your entire day. So whatever you're saying to yourself in those first 30 minutes, oh, I don't want to get up today. Oh, I don't want to deal with whatever's coming today, or whatever the case may be, you've got to shift that and you've got to move that and refocus on what's positive. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, give yourself a positive affirmation such as, I am brilliant, I am beautiful, I am worthy. Affirmations should be present and they should be personal, meaning they should be about you and they should be in the here and now. Never do an affirmation that says, I will be or I will try. Always make it right here, right now, today. I am, I do, and I have. And then the second leg of emotional intelligence is self-management. Being able to manage yourself without giving in to impulses. Of course, we're all going to be faced with situations that are going to cause us to react, but we have to keep in mind that instead of reacting, we have to respond. Now, this is a learned behavior. These are all learned behaviors. That's why we're having this call this morning. Now, I forgot to tell you, ladies, and I apologize for that, but I'm going to just interrupt here for a second and say, if you have a question as we're going through, as I'm saying the things that I'm saying, if you have a question, I can see you all down here on the screen. Just raise your hand and then go ahead and unmute your mic and ask your question, okay? Is that good? Okay, because I want you all to interact with me. I don't want to feel like I'm just talking at you. Yeah, okay. I want you. Yeah,
Cathy, are you at the top of your screen?
You are.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out why. Okay.
Oh, am I not at the top of the screen?
Am I at the top of everybody's screen?
Only when you talk.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to check.
So now that I'm talking, am I at the top of your screen?
Okay, good.
Okay. All right, great. So what I want you ladies to do is I want you to raise your hand and unmute your mic if you have a question about anything that I'm saying, okay? If something has happened to you recently and you want to question, oh, well, how should I handle this, or what could I have done, or how could I have improved how I did it, then just go ahead and let me know, because I want this to be interactive. Okay, this time is for you. Everything that I'm saying, this is all information for you guys. Okay, is that good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So so when I talked about self-management, being able to manage yourselves and not give in to the impulses of whatever may come your way. When we react, it comes from a place of emotions that are out of control. But when we respond, it comes from a place of logic and forethought, and we've thought it through. A response is something that's going to keep our stress level down. That's the whole key here, is to manage your stress level. Emotional intelligence is also about managing your stress level. The third leg in emotional intelligence is social awareness. Now, this has a lot to do with how you interact with other people, okay? When you're dealing with other people, learn how to read cues. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. Communication is all about the message, okay? The message that's being given out. My screen did something.
That's okay. We still hear you and
You're
see.
still here. Okay, great. Okay, communication is all about the message that you're giving as well as the person who's receiving it. The message that you're giving, or if someone is giving you a message, 7% of the message consists of your words. 38% of your message consists of your tone, how you're saying it, what it sounds like, the intensity, the volume. And then 55% of your message consists of your body language. How are you, your nonverbals? How are you acting? What are your facial expressions? Are you crossing your arms? Or, think about that. Because the reason I'm explaining that to you is sometimes you may feel a disconnect with whoever you're communicating with, and that disconnect might be found somewhere in the tone or your body language. So when you learn how to adjust your tone, your body language, and then also read the tone and body language of others, you can hear some things that may not be said in the words, because like I said, only 7% of the message is in the words, because a lot of it is in those other aspects, okay? And then the final thing is relationship management. Everything that we do in life is a relationship. Whether it's at work, at school, at home, in the community, or whatever it is that we're doing, there is a relationship there. And our goal is to build healthy, positive relationships where we can build on those relationships, and we can really do things that can help us accomplish our goals. And research actually shows that when you can develop your emotional intelligence, which is referred to as your EQ, emotional quotient, when you can develop your emotional intelligence to a healthy level, it's a better indicator of success than your IQ. And I think the reason for that is because there are people everywhere. There are people in every aspect of things that you do. There are people at work, at school, in the community. The people here that we're interacting with right now. So when we can learn how to get our relationships to a healthy place, relationships are deeply rooted in everything. Success is deeply rooted in the relationship. So when we can learn how to manage those and get them to a healthy place, it builds our interpersonal skills, and it builds our confidence, and it also enhances our lives, and it causes us to accomplish our goals and to be more successful in whatever we're trying to accomplish. Now, those are the biggest pieces of emotional intelligence. So before I go on, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions, or share stories, or get some input about your situations, or anything that you may have. Anyone? Well, let me ask you a couple of questions just to kind of get you guys talking.
And they're not shy, so I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay. So, okay. Now, let me ask you guys a couple of questions. As far as emotional intelligence, and when you get to a place where, let's say, someone gets on your nerves, or someone says something that you don't like, or they push your triggers, or they push your buttons, what do you do? What do you come back with? Do you react or respond?
It depends on the setting.
Okay. All right. Let's say that you're at school and you really worked hard on getting this this project, or if you had a paper you wanted to write, you really worked hard on it, and the teacher said you didn't do a good job, what would you say?
Just run with it. There's nothing much to say. See what I did wrong and keep it moving.
Good. Excellent. That's very good. Now, the good thing about what you said is that's what you should do so that she won't see that you negatively reacted to her. But do you internalize it? Do you go home and ask yourself, oh, what did I do wrong? I should have did it better. Do you start questioning yourself?
No, just basically ask her what I could have done better. Kind of take it as is.
Okay. Okay. Well, I saw you, the two young ladies that I don't see your name. Hi.
Hi,
I
I'm
saw
Erica.
you shake your head saying that you kind of do start questioning yourself.
Yeah, I question myself all the time, and I always feel like I'm at fault.
Okay.
And there's just,
All right.
even though I can go in and inquire what I did wrong with the professor or teacher, whatever the situation was, I still feel like it was something I did incorrectly.
Okay. So sometimes when that occurs, what's your name?
I'm sorry?
What's your name?
Erica.
Erica. Okay. Erica, sometimes when that occurs, when we question ourselves in certain aspects of our lives, sometimes we have to look back at what may have occurred in our past previously that caused us to have, because it sounds like your confidence level is not where it should be. So is it? It is where it should be, or it's not?
No, it isn't. I'm agreeing with you. You're right.
Okay, yeah. So we have to kind of look back at what may have occurred previously in our life, years ago, or maybe in our childhood or whatever, that is causing our confidence to not be as healthy as it should. Because when we question our abilities, that means that something has happened to cause us to question our abilities. Maybe we had a bad relationship. Maybe we had a bad teacher that criticized us constantly. Maybe we had a family member that criticized us constantly. So now we're at a place where we have to reassess our confidence level, reassess how we believe in ourselves, put those affirmations in place to try to move out those old toxic beliefs and create new healthy beliefs. And the way to do that is with the affirmation that I talked about, the self-talk, you know, keeping control of the self-talk that goes on in your head all day long, because it happens. You know, we have that self-talk that says, I'm not good enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. Switch that to say, I am great, I am brilliant, I can do this, I have done a good job. Those types of things. So when they do come to you and say, well, you didn't do very well, you can assess it yourself instead of allowing someone else to define who you are and allowing someone else to determine whether or not your confidence level should be where it's healthy or not.
It's a lot easier said than done.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're saying because I have been in your spot. I have been there. I'm an adult, so don't think we adults have it all together, because we always do. But we constantly have to go back and see what is causing us to have those questions about ourselves. We constantly have to go back and see what has happened to us to cause us to wonder, why did I not do this right? Or why did I? Because it may not even be a situation where it's about you. It could be about the person who's criticizing you. Maybe they're not confident in who they are. So now they're trying to push their negativity off onto you. So when we take on the stuff of other people or the issues of other people, it becomes ours when we shouldn't allow it to become ours. Let them keep it. Let them own their stuff, because you have a responsibility to keep your emotions in a healthy place and keep your self-talk in a healthy place, because that's how you're going to reshape everything that's stored in your subconscious. It's been there for a while. And everything that comes into your conscious mind about your self-esteem, about your self-confidence, it's coming from your subconscious. So what you need to do is learn how to get rid of all of that junk and stuff in your subconscious and reshape it, rethink it. So everything, if you can visualize something in your mind, this is just an example. If you can visualize, there was a time in my life when I was in corporate America and I wanted to do this because this is my passion. It's what I love to do. There was a time when I was convinced I could not speak in a public setting. I was too scared. I was very fearful. I figured I would not do a good job and all of those things. But I had to visualize. When you can see in your conscious mind what it is you want to accomplish, and see. Have you all ever read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? That's a very good resource. If you want to look that up or get that book, you can go to the library, you know, not have to buy it, or you can go to Amazon and maybe get a used copy for $1 or $2. But Stephen Covey tells you to begin with the end in mind, meaning see the end result in your conscious mind of what it is you want to accomplish. See the end result of wherever it is that you want to go. If you're trying to graduate from college or you're trying to get a job, see the end result of where you want to be. When I was in that mindset that I was just convinced I couldn't do a public seminar, I couldn't speak in public, I had to see myself doing exactly that. And every time I would see myself in my mind do exactly that, those negative thoughts tried to push their way in there. But I had to constantly push it back out so that I could see what I did want, not what I didn't want. And when you do that over and over and over and over and over, your subconscious takes it as the truth. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference in a vision or reality. So when you see that same positive vision over and over and over and over in your conscious mind, your subconscious is listening, and it's going to take it and it's going to start storing it away, and then your actions and your behaviors will start to align around it. It is a slow process. It's a slow process. You didn't get this way overnight, so it's not going to be an overnight change, but it is a careful balancing act where you have to gradually ease yourself out of that place of not having self-confidence. Now, did that help a little bit, Erica?
Yes. It just seems really. I think it's stuff that I'm all aware of. Just how to get to that place and figure out, like, for instance, you know, just being a graduate last year from college, that was my goal, and then that was a goal for so long. Now, what to do? Where is my vision now for the future? And that is something that, you know, it also has to do with the self-esteem and what I think I'm capable of doing in the real world, because college was my main goal in the beginning, and now it's like, okay, well, that's done. Now what do you do now? So
okay,
that's just...
Okay, I like what you said. Now, did you graduate from college? Are you graduated?
Yeah, I graduated with my undergrad degree by Bachelor of Science last year.
Awesome. That is a major accomplishment. Now, whenever you start questioning yourself, okay, I got my degree now, don't just graze over the fact that you got your degree. That's a massive accomplishment. So how did you reward yourself for that? Did you say nice things to yourself? Did you look in the mirror and say, you are brilliant, you are worthy, you are wonderful, you're successful, you accomplished something great?
I didn't, no.
Do that. I want you to start doing that. As soon as we get off this call, I want you to do that today, and I want you to do that every single day for the next however long you can do it. Yeah, I want you to start doing that, because that's how you reprogram the thoughts in your mind to store it away in your subconscious. A plan of action. That's why we're doing this here today. That's why we're going to continue to have these hangouts and these calls, because I'm here to help you put that plan of action in place. I mean, that's the whole goal of doing this, so that we can put a plan together for you. I've been there. I've done that. This is what I do for a living. I'm a life coach. I'm a career counselor. So if you don't know how to do a resume, we can help you with that. So don't allow it to stress you to the point where you're starting to forget about the accomplishments you've done. Just allow it to be a stepping stone. Okay, I've done this piece. Now I'm going to move to the next level and do this piece. Now, I want to get a little bit in here about work-life balance, because this is very important too. To understand work-life balance, you first have to identify what's critical in your life, okay? And when you think about the different aspects of your life, you have to know what's valuable. A lot of people spend a ton of time at work, and then they neglect the things that are valuable, such as your family and your friends and your hobbies and your passions. But you've got to have all of those pieces in there. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you have to set aside 2 hours for this, 3 hours for that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there may be a time when you just work nonstop for an entire week, or nonstop for an entire 2 weeks, and then the following week you take time for yourself. And don't forget the small little rewards. I'm not talking about just a big, massive vacation. That would be great if we could take time to have a big, massive vacation. But sometimes just the small little rewards, like, you know, just doing something nice for yourself, like taking a nice walk, or a hot bubble bath, or a spa day, or a pedicure or manicure, just something simple of a girl's night out. Just something fun that you can do. So don't forget about those. And then also, ladies, when it comes to work-life balance, you've got to think about your boundaries. Are you setting effective boundaries? Meaning, when you're in school or when you're in the workplace, or are any of you working right now on the call? Okay, excellent. Okay, so when you're in the workplace and you're dealing with your coworkers, do an assessment of any of your coworkers or colleagues who are draining you. And when I say draining you, sometimes people just really want to latch on to you and tell you all of their issues and their problems, and they want to vent, and they just want to complain, and they don't really have a solution. They just want to get it all out at your expense. So think about those type of people, and if you have those type of people in your life, you want to kind of either eliminate them, or if you can't totally eliminate them, then minimize your interaction with them. Kind of keep a log and see how much time are you spending with those type of people, because your whole goal is to keep your engine filled. You can't drive a car that's running on empty, can you? If there's no gas in the car, it's not going to move, right? So you got to make sure that your gas tank is filled, you are refueled in whatever way refuels you. Now for me, this is my fuel. This is what I love to do, and it happens to be my work. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed. But oftentimes people have to go through a job, because I had to go through a 28-year career to get to where I am now. I hope you guys don't have to do that, and that's why I'm here to help you, to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're having some balance and you're enjoying some of your life, and you don't have to work constantly so that you can get to a place that you're trying to get to. What the right way to do it is to put a plan in place. I know Erica said that she just graduated from college. That's wonderful. That's great. That's a wonderful accomplishment. Now the next step in her piece is to put a plan in place. If you already have a job, then your next place or your next piece in your puzzle is going to be to decide, is this the job for me? Do I want to be promoted here? Do I want to stay here? Is this the job that I went to college to learn how to do? Or what is it? What is your goal? What is your next goal in your puzzle? Because life is all about, it's just like a puzzle. You know, you've got to put those pieces together, and those pieces align together so that you can get to the next level.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I just graduated like Erica, but I'm headed to law school.
Okay.
And so in the fall, and so I plan on being a lawyer. But I've been hearing that in the legal field, you have to put in a lot of hours, like all the time, and it's always networking after work if you're not, doing billable hours. And there's the book that was like Lean In, that was written a few months ago. She was, I think, an executive member of like some tech company in Silicon Valley, essentially saying that women need to do essentially more at work and kind of have less of a work-life balance if they want to move up. So I wanted to know, how would you respond to that, and how do you kind of maintain a good work-life balance and still kind of move up in whatever career path you've set for yourself?
Well, I don't agree with that, and that's just me. I don't agree with that only because I'm an entrepreneur, and there's so much to do when you're an entrepreneur. Now, I totally understand the legal aspect, the legal career path. That's very challenging and it's very demanding. Being an entrepreneur is also very demanding. I could work 24/7, 365 days a year, nonstop, constantly, because I'm wearing so many different hats. I have to be the promoter and the marketer. I have to be the person who does the facilitation. I have to be a producer of my radio show. It's a ton of different things I have to do. However, that's why I said it's important for us to determine where our values lie. Because when you know who you are and you know where your values lie, you know what you're passionate about, that makes it a little bit easier for you to set aside that critical time. I just recently got married. So, I mean, for me to be able to pull off something like that, being an entrepreneur, he's also an entrepreneur. So we're both entrepreneurs, but we were able to manage to find time to spend together. So that's how you're going to have to work. You're going to have to decide for yourself, where do your values lie, what's important in your life, family, friends, hobbies, passions, and whatever that is, make time for it, because you can. And like I said, don't forget the tiny little things that you can do also to keep yourself refueled and re-energized. So a long answer to, it should have been a brief answer, but what I'm trying to say to you is, I don't believe that. I don't think that's the case. I think you can be an attorney. I mean, look at Soledad O'Brien. She's the one who's over this foundation. She has a massively busy career, but she has a large family too, and she maintains it. So I think you can do it too. I know you can do it. Good question. Thank you.
And congrats to Tiara, who also just got married.
Oh my, that is awesome. That is great. So you just got married and you're going to law school. You can balance it. You can do it. And look, you just finished college and now you're going to law school and you just got married. So obviously you found time for personal things, personal relationships. So that's great. You're on the right track.
Thank you.
Yes, you're on the right track. So good. Good for you. Any other questions?
And also we have Terry. She's on via my iPhone. So Terry, if you have anything, let me know and I'll translate for you.
Now, I mentioned one thing I wanted to just elaborate on just for a minute. I mentioned to be able to, and maybe I didn't mention it, about boundaries. And I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but we need to be able to set boundaries, especially when it comes to our work, in the workplace. I talked about toxic people draining your energy. When you have boundaries, that just means that you let people know what you can do and what you can't do. Now, you are in control of your time. If you can help someone with whatever they need help with in the workplace, then by all means help them. If it's going to infringe upon what you need to get done, if it's going to affect your project, your deadlines, your timelines, then you need to just let them know, I'm sorry, I can't help you, maybe next time. But assertiveness skills is very important in trying to maintain your boundaries and keep yourself in a healthy place, because if you let people push your boundaries aside, then you're teaching people how to treat you by your behavior. Your behavior and how you respect yourself and your boundaries is teaching people how they can respect you and respect your boundaries. So that's a great piece that I wanted to make sure that I got in there. Any questions on that? The other thing about work too is to find out from your employer if there's an opportunity or an option for flex time. Maybe there are some things that you can do where you can work from home. If you have new relationships or new children or something where you'd like to be home a little bit more, maybe your employer will be able to work with you with some flex hours. And as far as work-life balance, try to reframe and look at how you're doing your errands. Maybe your employer has an option where you can drop off and pick up your dry cleaning at work, and that's something that you can push and pull some more time from, and you don't have to use that time to go to the dry cleaners manually. You can do it at the office. And some employers also have daycare services. If you maybe you don't have children yet, but if you do, you just got married, you may want to have a child. But some employers offer daycare services, so you can investigate that as well. That'll help you with your work-life balance. Any other questions, ladies?
Does anybody have any other questions before we close?
And Whitney, I see you're from Indianapolis. I'm in Indianapolis too. Yay, yay. I'm here all the time. I'm surprised you probably have seen me maybe at Women's Empowerment. Have you ever been to Women's Empowerment?
No, I haven't. But I've been trying. So I hear about it every year, but it just, the timing ain't right.
Well, I will be speaking at Expo, at Black Expo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we can give emails, and I can definitely try to come and support.
Excellent. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Yeah.
And we will absolutely provide a follow-up. We will give Cathy's contact information. And also, Cathy, you recommended a book. Tiara mentioned Lean In by Facebook Cheryl Sanborn, but you also mentioned a book, and we'll include that in the follow-up so that everybody has that information as well. But I just want to think, and just so you'll know, Cathy, we have kind of the gambit of every situation represented here, from newlywed to mother to busy, challenging career to new college students. So everything is really represented here, and we appreciate your insight. And I want you all to look at Cathy as a resource to you all.
Absolutely. And Rika, I also wanted to mention too that when I was talking about the self-talk earlier and the affirmations, I have a book entitled Lies, Love, and Life, and it talks about, it gives you a lot of pieces to how we get stuck in that self-talk and telling ourselves lies. And when we tell ourselves these things and we start to believe them, now we've got to throw on a mask to pretend, and we need to stop the pretense and get to the bottom and the root cause of why we're saying these things to ourselves. So that's a good resource too. And I'll talk to you more about, trying to get that for.
Good. I just muted really quickly because we had Soledad chime in, and she always wants to know how it's going. So hi everybody, and we're so looking forward to our girls. Cathy, as you know, will be participating in Powerful, our summit next Saturday. So we are so excited about that. We have a full day plan with more information, but again, look forward to follow-up information on this Hangout. Catherine will be providing that. And if you have any questions that you think of after this, please feel free. Again, Cathy is a resource and a friend of the foundation. And again, Cathy, thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for being with us this early morning, especially for Tiara, who's on Pacific time.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So we appreciate it. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. It was so nice.
Thank you. How can I see her? How can I give her my email? Do we already
I'm
have
going to share everyone's contact information on one email.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. You're all beautiful, and I can't wait to do it again.